Hello, this is Janet Morana, Executive Director of Priests for Life. You know, on today's program, this is a topic that I think troubles a lot of women. It's called miscarriage. Because, you know, when a woman suffers a miscarriage, too often we glaze over it and just say, oh, well, I guess it's for the best and all this stuff. But we're not treating it properly. That this mother just lost her baby. And with today's program, we are going to discuss how we should respond and how we can help these mothers and how we can also help these mothers bury their miscarried child. You're going to learn a lot. Well, joining me today is the executive of the Heaven's Gain Ministries, Heaven's Gain, Donna Murphy. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Jana, for having me.
Well, and Heaven's Gain really is when you hear that term, that is so correct, because while that mother has lost the child here, that's a little angel now is in heaven, isn't that?
That's right. Heaven has gained that angel, and we have lost our children.
Right. Now, this work for you, you're passionate about that. Is because you have had a personal experience with miscarriage?
Yes, I have lost 3 babies, and 1 in the first trimester and 2 in the second.
Wow. And you know, don't you agree with what I just said in the open, that people just brush off miscarriage, don't they, in our society? It's like, oh, it was probably for the best. There must have been something wrong. I hate the phrase, nature took its course. Makes me crazy. But what can you say so that other people who've experienced miscarriage can identify right now with, yeah, me too?
Yeah, absolutely. So the people who say all these platitudes, they're not helpful at all. They're not acknowledging that the person has lost a baby. They're not acknowledging that person's right to grieve. And all these platitudes just say it wasn't a big deal. They pretend it wasn't even a baby, and that mom doesn't have the right to grieve. That makes her feel like she's crazy. It gives her a disenfranchised grief.
Right. It's almost like they're saying, move on. You
Yes.
can always have more children. Move on, right?
Right. But no one would say that to you if you lost a 2-year-old.
Or even a baby at 2 weeks. If that baby was born, and then you hear this, a crib death, or this, oh, everyone's all upset. Oh, we're so sorry. Oh, my goodness. It's the same thing if it's an unborn baby, because it's their baby, right?
Right. It's just in a different stage of life. It's in a different stage of life. And just because you haven't seen that baby, that mom knows that she's pregnant. She's already having that baby's inside of her, already developing the relationship with that baby, and even the father starts to develop that relationship with the baby inside the womb. They mourn too.
Yeah. Now, your ministry, talk about the whole package of what you do for women who have miscarried babies. I mean, some of them have already miscarried their babies, so then there's what you're going to provide. But then what about the women who might be, you know, we're going to cover both things, but let's talk about women who already miscarried a baby and maybe they didn't even get the remains of their child. How can they contact your ministry for some support or help?
So we have free support services for anybody who's lost a baby, any gestation. And we support the people before, during, and after. Since you're asking about the after, I'll go to the after. So afterwards, we give support. So in support groups, we support individuals and we support couples. And we do this virtually or we do it in person. Either way, and sometimes just over the phone. Right. So we will give that person support, because the world isn't. The world is saying, it wasn't a baby. Why are you mourning? What's wrong?
Right.
And we will say, yes, it was a baby. You truly lost a baby that can never be recreated.
And the website to go to contact you for that help?
Is heavensgain.org.
Okay, perfect. Okay, but now we have some women who sometimes during their pregnancy they begin to abstain or begin to bleed, and they call their doctor, and the doctor, you know, he does all his evaluation and tests. But what resources do you have to help someone who's at that stage, hoping and praying they hold the pregnancy and not quite sure if they're going to miscarry?
So that's when we really love to get them, because once they find out that there's no heartbeat, they can come into Heaven's Gain and we can prepare them for the loss of their child, whether that is a miscarriage at home, a late miscarriage or stillbirth in the hospital, or a baby with a poor prenatal diagnosis. We're going to help that mom prepare for the birth of that child, and that's so important. Because in the first trimester, the most common reason a woman goes to the emergency room in her childbearing years is due to blood loss. And whether that's too much or too little, you don't know unless you're using something like a miscarriage kit. And in the second trimester, usually deliver in the hospital or the third trimester, we're going to prepare them for that experience at the hospital. We're going to give them a card, because when you walk in, they're going to say, "Why are you here?" And to say, "I'm here to deliver my dead baby," is very emotionally upsetting and starts off the whole experience wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to do as many things as possible to prevent traumas that happen during loss, and try and help them move past that, and so I should say, to skip over the traumas, not move past, skip over the traumas, so they can get to the grief and then get to the healing.
Wow, that's great. So you have some of these actual resources. Can we get
Sure.
those? Let's
Sure.
explain this all.
So this is part of a miscarriage kit. You'll see that there's a colander, specimen hat that has measurements in it. So you can actually measure the amount of blood loss. There's also a colander that goes inside of here to catch the baby and the placenta in case somebody would want testing. It's important because so many people are like, "I let the baby touch the toilet water," and they're so upset about it. Or, "I went into a bathroom with an auto flush toilet, I went to grab the baby and it was gone." This would prevent that trauma, right? Then after you do find the baby, there's a little vessel to put the baby into that you can take and eventually bury in some type of casket, because the burial of the baby is a big part of the healing.
Right.
To know where your baby is, because so many people have flushed or left the baby at the hospital and they don't have that healing part where they know where their baby's remains are.
Right. Now, how could they, if they see this kit and just say, "Wow, people in our area, we need to have this," and you never know if someone's going to enter into that phase of miscarrying a baby, how would they obtain this?
Yes, so you can go to our website, heavensgain.org, and click on miscarriage kits. And not only is the kit there available to buy, but there's a video that explains how to use the kit. It's a 14-minute video. It's very descriptive on exactly how to use this kit, so we can save women's lives because they will know how much they're bleeding, and also help them to find their baby's remains so they can bury that baby and have healing.
That's great. Now, if they have the remains and they want a proper burial, you also have the little caskets and all that, don't you?
We do. We have caskets for babies of all gestations, from the smallest little baby in the first trimester all the way through full term. When we lost our son, who was 8 inches long, we went to 4 different funeral homes and 2 cemeteries, and everybody said there is no such thing created for a baby that small to bury them. He's 8 inches long. What am I supposed to do? Leave him at the hospital for them to put him in medical waste? No. So we got a chest and buried him in that, and we said something better needs to happen.
Right.
My husband said we should do this, and I said no. But then the Lord, I heard the Lord's call to do it, and doggone, I had to say he was right.
That's terrific. And so they go to the website, they can order then the little casket and everything.
They can order a casket, they can order a miscarriage kit, or they can just go and find out about our support services and get our free support services.
That's terrific. Now, the other obstacle in this whole chain here, I know, is the hospitals. In so many states, there are no laws on the books, right, to give parents the right to demand the remains of their child so they're not put off in medical waste, right? So what's the landscape out there?
So you are so right about this. Less than half the states have laws permitting parents of miscarried babies to take their baby and either bury or cremate their baby. So this is with miscarriage, and miscarriage is different in every state, but in general, in most states, it's 20 weeks. And so that could be a 10-inch long baby that they could just say, no, we're going to take your baby and place him in medical waste. And when we lost our child in Ohio, there were no laws in Ohio giving parents the right to their baby's remains.
Wow.
And so we wrote to them in 2008, and the Parents Grieving Act got passed. And so state by state, we are also working on trying to help people in the different states to get these laws enacted, because when you're in the middle of it, you're not up for that fight.
No.
At that point, you're not up for that fight. And so we want to get those laws enacted now so that when somebody goes through that, they do have the right to bury their child.
That's right. And so what would you say, the number out of the 50 states, how many would you say protect parents' rights to get the remains of their child?
About 25.
Well, we're not doing good. That's only half. We
That's
got
only
to
half.
do a lot better, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, we do. Well, I would say even if the laws are not there in your state, the minute the doctor says you've had a miscarriage, you have to come to the hospital, and I'll meet you there, blah, blah. You just, can you say up front right there, I want the remains of my baby, right?
You can say it,
but they may not follow
but they may not follow it. And also, all the laws for all the different states are on our website. So even in Ohio, we recently had a client who had already had one loss and was able to bury her baby's remains. But the office staff told her that she could not have her baby's remains. And she said, no, I've been to Heaven's Gate. I know the laws in the state of Ohio. I have the right to my baby's remains.
Oh, so that's great. They can go there now and see the laws in their state.
Yes.
So now they're empowered with information, right?
Absolutely.
Boy, oh boy. You know what? I think, Donna, every woman who goes to an OBGYN should make them aware of this, because then if they have someone who's miscarrying, they know how to gently help her have the remains of her baby, right?
That's absolutely right. Recently, I was at a doctor's office talking to the staff, and I didn't know the doctor was online watching my presentation. And he said, where have you been for the past 40 years? We have needed you.
We needed you. We needed you. And then finally, I just want to say, you know, if someone has a friend who miscarried a baby, then why don't you send a sympathy card, just like you would for any other loss? Why don't we send sympathy cards, right?
We
Condolence
should.
cards.
Yes.
Wouldn't that help?
There's really not such a thing out in the stores to buy, but just take any card and just write that you're so sorry.
Well, you could take a sympathy card that says condolences on your loss, and then you could write, we're so sorry you lost your baby. I'm here for you, and you're in my prayers. What harm would that do?
Absolutely.
And don't you think it makes the woman feel so much better that, they understand how I'm feeling, right?
Yes. I remember when we came home from burying Gabriel that somebody had sent flowers. They treated my loss like a real loss, and that meant so much.
Yeah.
People offered to bring meals. That's wonderful. People offer to babysit your kids so that you can grieve with your husband. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can do to help. It's all just the two basic things are acknowledge the loss and acknowledge the right to grieve, and you will be a great help to them.
Right. Well, thank you for joining me, Donna. It was an eye-opening conversation. Well, brothers and sisters, now you know a little bit more about miscarriage, but don't let that stay here. I'm counting on you. If you know someone who's having problems in their pregnancy and might miscarry, speak up. Tell them about the resources of Heaven's Gate. Maybe they won't miscarry, but in case they do, you'll be right there to stand with them. And also, too, brothers and sisters, it's up to you. Don't let this stay here on the airways. Spread it wide. And again, this is Janet Morana, Executive Director of Priests for Life. Thank you for joining us. God bless.